a few seconds ago, I introduced to you, before I took a break, Kabelo Ncholo. He's now here, sitting in front of me. He was posing for pictures outside with Tando. Suddenly they found reason to be posing for pictures and taking charge.
Good evening, Rems. You're going to get me to trouble because...
No. From a marketing point of view, that's what I meant. There was marketing happening there.
You need to be honest. I was actually helping you and Tando to take the picture.
Do you want this interview?
I do.
Don't contradict me there. Thank you very much for coming out, mate. We truly appreciate it.
Good evening, Ramsam. Thank you so much for your opportunity on this Opportunity Tuesdays. And I'm actually excited. Thank you to your listeners to be listening at this time. So,
your self-management. I like the name. Why? Why yourself?
My journey into entrepreneurship, it was not one of those that I planned. I'll be honest. I didn't even think of the name. I started this business 2004. I actually registered it in 2004. For me to get into business was to survive. In fact, when I came to Joburg from the village, Papong, I was accepted to go study medicine at Vet, and I had only one thing in mind, to come to Joburg to study. But based on my disadvantaged background, I was late. By that time, classes commenced, and I was then given the opportunity, which was actually a blessing in disguise, that I should spend some time at the hospital for me to be part of the following year intake, which was the year 2002. And I realized then that I can't stand blood. Luckily for me, I was working as a waiter right then.
Wow.
Yes. So the name yourself actually came up after me identifying the opportunity while working as a waiter, when schools will come to the restaurant that I was working at. It's in fact McRib Family Restaurant, just here in Mill Park.
This one here?
Yes.
Oh,
it's the one that gave me a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And I would see this schools coming through to the restaurant, booking one side of the restaurant, and see this matriculants not really having a farewell of their like a very good send off.
Mm-hmm.
I then saw opportunity because the previous year I had a matric farewell. It was organized in a hall, and I think we really enjoyed it. And I thought I could start a business, and I said yourself, meaning I will do the matric farewell the way they would like it to be. So that's where the name yourself came.
But then it doesn't make sense. Here's a guy comes from Bapong. He comes to Joburg to study medicine. Well, realizes that he doesn't have much love for blood. How do you then move to marketing from there? It clearly is not your background at that point.
It wasn't. If you come to Joburg and you have my background of I don't want to say poor, but we were disadvantaged, and I had to survive. I had to pay rent. Joburg, one thing that you should know is you rent and you pay rent every month, and I also had to send some money back home then. And that was actually one of my motivation for me to do what I was doing. I started doing matric for a while. I then did events for tertiary institute, the likes of Vet, and actually I also did club promotions. I started promoting different nightclubs and so on. And it was right there when I was doing promotions at a club. In fact, I came around this lady, Kate, who she was working for Michelle Combrick, a marketing agency, Zinto Marketing. And while we were still conversing, she was telling me how they actually having a challenge with having someone to really help them with the marketing for one of the brands in Soweto. And me being Kabelo, I said to Kate, that was the year 2007, I said, I can help you.
Yeah.
I did that. I think it was a 2 weeks project, and I had to invoice them 50,000. I was like, wow, this is exactly what I'd like to be. And when I met Michelle, going to Zinto, I somehow have a clear picture of what I want to do in life and what I want to achieve by just observing her company. By then she had, I think it was over 300 staff The office was buzzing back and up and boss this and that. And I observed and like, wow, this is what I want to. And right then I started to use her as my mentor. I actually requested her to be my mentor. She mentored me through about into this industry. Everything, and used her company, in fact, Zinto Marketing, as a benchmark for my company. And right then I changed your soft management to be a marketing agency.
And when did you then go live in trading?
I went live in trading the first week. They gave me that 2 weeks project, which is I did it well. One thing that stood up with me is hard work. I always put hard work and passion and determinations in whatever that I do. And I think I did a very good job, because of right immediately Michelle wanted to see me at the office to see who's this young man they've been struggling to penetrate Soweto with, and I was able to access Soweto. And bear in mind, I didn't even know Soweto. But I did what I did. I delivered, and after delivering, I started to work. I worked with Michelle, and I started to do the subcontracting. I did subcontracting just for me to really gain confidence, and to build myself and build the brand for about 2 years, 2008, 2007, 8, 9. Starting from 2009, I started to go straight to like the main supply, like the big guns, the direct clients. And I landed a client that are still servicing up to date, and that was Tiger brand, starting to be servicing them for Albany brand.
You know, it's easy when I have a guest like the previous one and I speak about protection services. People tend to understand. What is it really that is marketing? What is it that you do? You know, to somebody, we have different concepts of marketing.
Of course.
But what do you guys do? What defines your self-management?
That was another thing that everyone talks about marketing, and there's so many things, and people can interpret marketing in their own way. And I found my niche when I then realized a black market or African market, that most companies, it's an emerging market, and most of the brands or companies that want to play into that space, they don't know how to actually penetrate it due to the socio-cultural differences that is within the African market or the township market. And I then saw that need, and I benchmark, and I actually use that niche to position the business, your self-management. So in simple, we are through the line, which means we do 360. So we do above advertisement, below the line activations or digital marketing for us to position the clients within the African market.
Who are some of your clients?
Very proud to say Tiger brand still up to date. It was one of the best corporate clients, the first corporate clients we got. We're still servicing them up to date. Servicing Nestle, the chocolate range having status of preferred supplier. We servicing Platco, which is ETV. We're responsible for all the sales and most of their productions as well. APSA, Microsoft, to mention few of the clients that you are servicing. Our
guest is Kabelo Ncholo. He is the founder and managing director of Your Self Management, which is an award-winning marketing agency which operates in the SADC industry, in the SADC countries. So it's not only in South Africa. Boy from the Northwest came here wanting to become a doctor and is now doctoring our image of things out there through his marketing work. And a few years later, then you end up employing over 300 people. It can't be something that you thought it would happen just like that.
For me, is of course I wanted. Like I said, I used Zinto as my benchmark, and I always say that my success should be measured on how many people I help, and how many people I inspire and make a difference. That's actually the basics or one of the pillars of the business, your self-management. And I think I'm in a very good opportunity, especially with our below the line our activations department, where we are forced to really go out and hire. That actually just shown how much of a growth the business have grown from. And Durams, bear in mind, I started this business with 350 tip. And I always say that.
I actually was going there. You know, there's a question I asked again the previous guest. What did you have? How much did you have in your pocket to start this business?
I started with 350, and I'd say
sorry, mate. 350,000 rand,
Rand.
$350,000,
rand,
350
100 rand,
pounds.
200, 300 and 350. I started this. It was a good. I served the table. They gave me a 350 tip on that specific night. I still remember. And right from there and then, I went, printed out some of the pamphlets that I actually used for as a business profile and to where we are. And guess what? I like to say this to most of the entrepreneurs because of you. This is your opportunity Tuesday, because they always say to how do you start and where do you start? I started that, and we are at the moment where we're turning over 35 million rand as a business from 350.
35 million.
Yes, from that.
Per annum.
But I will tell you how I
so
got.
12 is your magic number, mate. It was 350 rand, it's 35 million. Probably talking 350 employees.
We on 222 employees to be exact. I can't wait for me to be on three. Actually, like to really go more with employees, especially to make a difference in these times where unemployment is actually a crisis within our country.
Wow. But it was not always plain sailing.
I've never worked alone with the business. I've always knew that I got limitations, even from the trying days. I always had at least a team of two. The strength of the business or the strength of me is based on the people that I work with, from management to everyone that is on the ground that is working for my organization, staff management. They make me who I am. As much as I'm here, I do not represent myself, and they actually play a very big role. And that's why I always say to entrepreneurs to say, when you're working with a team brings out the best out of you, because you are able to advocate the best and different ideas and different minds.
When we speak to a lot of small businesses, and those are most of the clients that the guests that we have on the show, one thing they always mention is the biggest challenge in growing their business is affording you people, the marketers. Marketing is always a factor that is mentioned as one of the most expensive ingredients of the business. Is it? Or are SMEs or small businesses in particular looking at it the wrong way?
I think they're looking at it in the wrong way. First of all, I think we are not, and I say SMEs and especially the blacks, we are not really educated about the business world. What are the what are actually the four pillars of that makes the business? So marketing, it actually makes it the big into the business because of it creates a perception. I call marketing an art of perception, how you want your clients to see you. And how do you do that? And I always say, no one can say I can afford marketing, but you need to have a perception. So I can say this, I can really come and advertise in Metro FM with just me signing a contract and knowing quite well that Metro will actually carry my voice out there, and later with what they have done, I'll be able to pay them. People don't see business that way. Don't see business with business is an idea. Business is visual. You can't touch it. You can't really say, I can afford this. You need to have an idea and a vision to say, this is what I want to. And once you say, I want to achieve this, you go out there and make it achievable. What is going to need or what is going to take you is just you to speak. It's just you to sit down to say, this is what I will do. Remember, I always say this, you are, at the end of the day, you're the one who's going to pay. You got your terms and conditions as a payer. So I can come here and say, I will pay you after 60 days after you have placed my ad. Then the challenge is how well I'm going to work and making sure that within that 60 days, I would have raised the money that Metro FM or you, Rams, you would have then advocated for me. You would. And it would definitely change you. And that's why I say you can't say, I can't afford marketing. It's based on your idea and understanding of what role marketing plays, because of you create a perception on how your client wants to see you.
On that note of marketing, I hope you're dusting up those 30 seconds ad. This time you're going to get them for free. We're going to give you that opportunity to advertise your business for free in the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. So get them ready. The same rule applies. You're going to call us on 089 110 3377, and you're going to read us a script. Hopefully you write it down. Kabelo will vouch for me here. Get a script right. Don't try and ad-lib this thing. Write it down and sell your business in 30 seconds. We're going to give you that chance. Don't forget that. My guest is Kabelo Ncholo, founder and managing director of Yourself Management. It's an award-winning marketing agency. Is it important? I look at your CV here, and I see, you got education. You went to get education. You're completing your MBA now with Henley Business School. Most SMEs, most people who run their own businesses, once they have started, then do not do any more education. Why is this important?
Business evolves. I'm not only running within South Africa. I'm talking strategy. I'm talking positioning myself as the business, and that will literally be limited. I'm not the same as I just came out and I have to survive. I had to make this much.
Yeah.
I got responsibilities. I signed down the non-disclosure responsibilities for all these companies that I told you about for me to advocate their brands. And with limited information, I won't be able to carry them over. You get to the point where you don't want to be at the saturation point. If I'm going to make the amount of turnover that I'm making now, I need to know about the tax laws. I need to know about, I can't really employ over 300 people without knowing about the employment rights and all the labor laws that actually govern these people.
Yeah.
And also come up with systems and processes that will align the business. I'm operating within the regions of South Africa.
Yeah.
So how do I make my systems and for them to be aligned and to speak one language? That if you speak to my office in Namibia, my office in Zambia, they still speak the same thing. And that is unfortunate. I need to acquire the language, and that language is called business. And I need to understand what does it mean, all the business, and that I could only learn it through the business school. So I think it's one of the mistakes that we entrepreneurs make. You get into an entrepreneurship space, it's starting to work, it's from 350, you're starting to make R1 million. How are you going to raise your R1 million to becoming 100 million to R1 billion? How are you going to, you are no longer surviving. You are competing in a battle, which is a market space.
Yeah.
How do you then claim your position without you knowing what the business requires, and in terms of the business language and the business acumen and the business insight and information that you need to? Because now you are not just a founder, you are a CEO.
Yeah.
As a CEO, what are you sitting there to tell people? You then need to go back so that you don't find yourself being out of ideas, and the school is always the right way to go, so that you also can tell yourself that you know what you're doing and can build up a confidence. And that's why I always advocate for us entrepreneurs to really, we can never say we cannot afford to go back to school and study more.
We're running out of time, but I have to ask you this question.
Yes.
This year, in October this year, you were awarded the BBQ, the Black Business Quarterly Award in the Innovation Hub New and Innovative Business category.
Yes.
I do not understand. I do not understand that you could have these accolades, you could have clients that you have currently, and probably others that you don't mention. But we still, and that includes government, that includes big organizations like SOEs. When they think marketing agencies, they still go to the same white agencies. Why are people like you not getting the business, and others? I mean, there are many like you, many black marketing agencies. Why are we still in the same space where Kabelo is good enough for a 10 million rand contract, but once you put another zero, it has to go to, and I'm not going to mention names because it's not about them.
Course.
Yeah.
We are at the type, and thank you for that question, we are at the part of our life where we are free politically, but economically we are not free. And the segregations in terms of the economic freedom, it then went to the finances, it then went to financial powers. I find still other guys that still try to get their business, and they will be isolated based on power, based on capacity, based on what they can do. And this is unfortunate, this is where we are. Because of we really need to educate ourselves to say, how do we then get into this transformation? How do we then make Kabelo to be this guru in a marketing space? Why? Because of someone from Bapon, someone from my village, they can actually connect with me. They can react betterly with me than anybody else.
Yeah.
For them to be thinking that certain things is for certain people. And I think economically, which is something that I always challenge our government to say, we really need to looking into the things that we do for transformations, for us to be starting to be given a fair play, to be playing into this sector. There's less, as much as marketing, I was just talking to Tato earlier, it's an easy entry, but there is less black-owned marketing agency that actually are competing within this sector.
I know. Yeah.
And what makes it to compete is because of, once in marketing, two ways. You've got private sector and you've got public sector. If you don't have a very good contact within the public sector, the private sector is going to be asking for your capacity. It's going to ask you to say, you're going to compete against Kabelo. Kabelo makes 35 million. Kabelo has a staff of about 300 people. What do you have? And that isolate yourself to really get into the market. And things like this is where we need entrepreneurs, especially black entrepreneurs, to start investing in yourself. One thing I did well was to take each and every profit of the business and reinvest it back into the business. And by the time I came out, you couldn't ask me in terms of my capacity, in terms of my resources, because I have it all. We should then get to a point where we come and we support each other as blacks, as those that want to get into the space to say, you Rams, what do you have? Kabelo, what I have. Then how can we become one so that we can also compete? Because of now it's about a muscle. It's about capacity muscle. It's about financial muscle. And that's why the same agencies, they keep on being given the same contract. And bear in mind, they get the contract, then they come and subcontract it on me, Kabelo, to do the job. What does that mean?
You know what it means? It means we've run out of time. That's exactly what it means, Kabelo. Such a pity because it was getting to be warm. But I need to ask you two final questions.
Yeah.
What's next? What's the plan for the next 5-10 years?
Thank you so much for asking me this. Actually, when I'm thinking about the plan for the next 5 years is good. This coming 2 years, 2017, 2018, opening up an office in Nigeria. My focus is penetrating the African market. And I'm very fortunate for me to be awarded one of the global brands that have trusted us to really advocate them within Africa, that is going to enable us to really perform that task. The birth of Yourself Digital TV with one of our clients, that we also going to be having a space where we're going to have a digital TV. And that is one of the greatest things that will be coming through to us as Yourself. And Yourself production as well, we're growing. So I see this business in the next 5 years to be not a small, medium-sized business, but to be a business that will be not only for me, but yes, I'm fortunate for me to give birth into it, but it to be one of the big players when you mention the word marketing. And not only in South Africa, but in Africa. My next 10 years is actually to take over the world. I made a deal with God that I shouldn't die till I have an office in New York. Then I will say I've done my duties.
From your mouth to God's ears, mate. Wonderful, wonderful way of finishing this. How do people who want to do business with you, and hopefully those that would want to at least work with you some way or another, get hold of yourself?
You can get hold of Yourself. Simple. You can simply go to Yourself website, where Yourself Facebook page, or you can call us directly on 0011 760 1926. Directly, you can communicate to me at Kabelo on Facebook. I'm Kabelo Ncholo. Twitter, Instagram, Kabelo Ncholo. And you can send me an email on kabelo@ybrand.co.za.
And the website address?
Yourself Management.
Yourselfmanagement.co.za. We're going to put all this on our Facebook page. And mate, we want to see you conquer the world. Thank you very much for joining us. Your story is truly inspiring.
Thank you.
I'll tell you that much. Truly inspiring.
Thank you so much.
I loved talking to you.
Thank you.